What if one of the most underrated snack foods in America is actually one of the smartest? When people think about healthy nuts, they usually think of almonds for protein, walnuts for omega-3s, or maybe cashews for creaminess. Pistachios often get treated like the fun nut, the one you eat at parties, the one you crack open while watching a game. But once you look at the science, pistachios start to look a lot more serious. So today on The Vital Nourish, we're answering a deceptively simple question. Are pistachios healthier than other nuts? And the real answer is not yes, not no, but something much more interesting. Because pistachios may not beat every other nut in every category, but they do stand out in ways that most people don't realize. They're rich in protein, fiber, potassium, healthy fats, antioxidants, and even compounds linked to eye health. And if you stay with me until the end, I'll tell you the one reason pistachios may help some people eat less without even trying. Let's start with the most important point. Nuts, in general, are already a very strong category of food. Harvard notes that people who regularly eat nuts tend to have lower rates of heart disease, and nut-rich diets have been associated with better cholesterol, blood pressure, and inflammatory markers. So the real question is not whether pistachios are the only healthy nut. They're not. The better question is whether they offer a different combination of benefits that makes them especially useful for certain people. And this is where pistachios become fascinating. Compared with many other nuts, pistachios are relatively lower in calories per serving, yet they still deliver about 6 grams of protein per ounce, plus fiber and mostly unsaturated fat. Cleveland Clinic also points out that an ounce of pistachios gives you roughly 49 kernels, which is more pieces than you get from many other nuts in the same serving size. That matters psychologically as much as nutritionally, because a snack that feels more abundant often feels more satisfying. Now, are pistachios the highest protein nut? Not necessarily in absolute terms across every comparison. But they do have a very favorable protein plus fiber plus calorie balance, and that's what makes them stand out for weight-conscious eating. Cleveland Clinic says the combination of protein and fiber may help with weight maintenance, and their shells may also slow people down enough to reduce mindless overeating. In other words, pistachios may not just nourish you, they may also make portion control easier. This is one reason I think pistachios appeal so strongly to the American wellness audience right now. They fit into that sweet spot between practical and functional. They're not exotic, they're not a supplement, and they don't require a lifestyle overhaul. You can throw them into yogurt, salads, grain bowls, or eat them straight from the shell. But nutritionally, they offer more than people expect. One of the areas where pistachios really stand out is heart health. Like other nuts, they provide mostly monounsaturated and polyunsaturated fats, and Cleveland Clinic notes that most of the fat in pistachios falls into that heart-friendly category. Research cited there suggests pistachios may help lower oxidized LDL cholesterol, and some studies indicate they may lower blood pressure more than many other nuts. That doesn't mean pistachios are a medicine for your arteries, but it does mean they may be especially useful if your overall dietary pattern is aimed at improving cardiovascular risk factors. There's also something else in pistachios that doesn't get talked about enough: L-arginine. Cleveland Clinic highlights this amino acid because the body can convert it into nitric oxide, which helps support healthy blood vessels. Nitric oxide matters because it helps vessels relax and maintain healthy blood flow. So when people say pistachios may support circulation, there's a real biological basis for that claim. And then we get to one of the most surprising pistachio benefits of all: eye health. Most people do not think of nuts when they think of vision. But pistachios contain the carotenoids lutein and zeaxanthin, and Cleveland Clinic specifically points out that these antioxidants are linked to lower risk of macular degeneration. Even more interesting, a 2024 clinical study found that daily pistachio consumption increased macular pigment optical density in healthy adults, which is a meaningful marker because that pigment helps protect the retina from blue light and oxidative stress. So if you want a nut that does something a little different from the usual heart health narrative, Pistachios become very compelling here. This doesn't mean pistachios are the best nut for everybody. Walnuts still have a unique omega-3 story. Almonds have their own strengths. But pistachios may be the most well-rounded for people who care about satiety, blood sugar, heart health, and even eye health all at once. Blood sugar is another area where pistachios seem especially useful. Cleveland Clinic notes that pistachios are considered a low glycemic index food, and research suggests they may help reduce fasting blood sugar and improve insulin resistance. That makes them a smart snack for people who feel tired after high-carb foods, struggle with energy crashes, or want something crunchy that doesn't send blood sugar on a roller coaster. And if we zoom out, that is probably one of the strongest arguments in favor of pistachios for the American viewer. We live in a food environment full of convenient snacks that are salty, refined, easy to overeat, and metabolically unhelpful. Pistachios offer crunch, flavor, and satisfaction, but they come with protein, fiber, healthy fats, potassium, and antioxidants. That makes them feel indulgent while still functioning like a genuinely nourishing food. There is also a gut health angle here. Cleveland Clinic notes that the fiber in pistachios can be converted by gut bacteria into short-chain fatty acids like butyrate, which helps nourish colon cells. That doesn't mean pistachios are a probiotic miracle, but it does place them in that category of foods that support the microbiome quietly, consistently, and without needing to be marketed as a gut hack. Now let's answer the question directly. Are pistachios healthier than other nuts? Not across the board. There is no single nut that wins every category. But pistachios may be one of the most balanced nuts for modern health goals. They give you protein, fiber, healthy fats, antioxidants, blood sugar support, and eye health compounds in one package. They're also lower in calories per serving than many people think, and because they often come in shells, they naturally slow down the eating process. For someone trying to snack smarter, feel fuller, and support heart and metabolic health, pistachios have a lot going for them. That said, there are still a few cautions. Pistachios are tree nuts, so they're off limits for anyone with a pistachio or tree nut allergy. Salted or heavily roasted versions can add a lot of sodium, which may work against blood pressure goals if you're eating them often. And yes, they are still calorie-dense, so a healthy snack can become an unintentional calorie bomb if you eat them by the bowlful. Cleveland Clinic recommends aiming for about 1 to 1.5 ounces a day, which is enough to get benefits without drifting into excess. So the smartest conclusion is this: pistachios are not magic, but they are probably more powerful than most people realize. If you already enjoy nuts and want one that brings a little more protein, a little more fiber, a little more potassium, and a very unusual eye health bonus, pistachios deserve a serious place in your routine. And if you've been overlooking them because they seemed less health halo than almonds or walnuts, it may be time to look again. If this video helped you, like it, subscribe to the Vital Nourish, and tell me in the comments, if you had to choose just one nut for everyday health, would you pick pistachios, almonds, or walnuts? And I'll see you in the next video.